We'll start with Cassie Ruimi.
Never mind. Since they're doing
Isabella Di Deliso.
Thank you. So you're here in New York for Electric Zoo. I actually had the privilege of attending Electric Zoo's first year when you played on the main stage.
Right.
How do you think the festival has progressed in the only few short years, as well as EDM culture as a whole?
Well, I think as a first, the festival has become way bigger. You know, when it started out, you know, the main stage was so like kind of the only area that was like 2 tents, I believe.
2 tents,
2
yeah.
tents, and now there's like this whole big thing going on.
Yeah.
Production has gone from a little bit of lights and LED what they had then to like full scale production right now. So also in terms of lineups, you know, everybody's playing, which is great. EDM, you know, dance music as a whole in the States is, I think, has become the major youth culture music. You know, not only youth culture because it dates back to so long ago.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, almost 3 decades now that you actually see this whole sort of, you know, this name tag of like rock, hip hop, dance music has become one of the big ones.
Yeah, now it's everyone.
Yeah.
My dad listens to dance
Right, there
music
you go.
too
So,
sometimes.
yeah, it covers a lot of ground right now. The only thing I do hope for this music, you know, because it's growing so fast right now, that it also rids itself of the how can I say it in a nice way. All the crap that's out there, you know? Yeah, that's nice.
Very true.
But because there's so much stuff that is, you know, you can have like 50 tracks lined up and they all sound exactly the same. And that is the one thing that you know, we need to get a step away from. It's like people need to start, you know, thinking for themselves again, and not anymore like, okay, what did the other guy do? Oh, let's make a record just that sounds like that. You know, people talk about the sound of today, the sound of now, not anymore like, you know, like 10 years ago we talked about that's the sound of Paul Oakenfold and that's the sound of Sasha. You know, there were like distinct musical tastes, and right now it's the sound of now. What is that? You know, I want to go back to, I hope it goes back to the sound of that person and the sound of that person and everything becoming sort of like distinct again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of, you know, EDM changing in the States, you are going to host the full-on stage at Tomorrow World very soon. So what do you think that's going to be like, and who are you most excited to play with?
I'm actually really excited. That sounds corny, but I'm excited to play with everybody because everybody plays a key role in what the stage is going to be like the whole day. You know, it's going to be trancey, but slightly. Some elements are more housey, you know, like RDM, for example. So, which makes it very exciting for me because on the one hand I have to be on my toes with the trance sound. On the other hand, I have to start getting really creative with a more housey sound. So it's cool. What people can expect is a good old jam session because I play back to back with everybody.
Yeah.
Although it's different genres. But the cool thing is that I don't know what those people are playing. So it's like that, and we'll see. We just dive into it, and we'll take it wherever we take it, really. And then the next one who comes in, you know, because I play back to back with everybody at the end of their set, so, and introducing the new guy. So the new guy will have to think like, okay, this has just been played. What am I going to start with now? So it sort of steps away from the whole sort of, you know, prepared.
Feel each other out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a more organic set throughout the whole day.
And lastly, what was your best show, and where is like your favorite city or country to play in your opinion?
My favorite country to play in, but that's also because I love the country itself, Australia. I just love Australia. It's very chilled, it's very relaxed. The people are really, really cool. But the crowd is just mental. They're completely crazy. They have this rugby culture, and they use that sort of thing in at the festivals. They stack each other up 3-4 high, you know, and go nuts.
And the energy is great.
Absolutely crazy. So I love playing there. Best show this year was
Volunteer DC. Lebanon DC.
Lebanon DC. I think one of our first Newell punk shows at Madison Square Garden during EZOO. That must have been one of the highlights for me, and I think I can also speak for Marcus. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Tomorrow World, how do you think that with ID&T and Tomorrow World, how do you think that'll translate into the United States?
Well, there's a big US body behind the whole IDT thing, obviously. So what I know is that they're going to be very similar to the one in Belgium, and that that festival alone, in terms of production and logistics and everything, blows everything else out of the water, really. So I keep my fingers crossed that it's going to be the same. If so, then you guys are in for a treat. Yes.
Will you be having a live stream from your stage again, like you did at Tomorrowland?
I know there's some talk about radio. I'm not really sure who's going to do it, but there might be a big chance that there's some streaming. Yeah.
So obviously you just came back from Lebanon 2 weeks ago in the Middle East. You had a really successful gig, as I heard, and people send me pictures and it's all over Facebook and Instagram and everything. When is your next visit to the Middle East? And you as an artist, as an international artist, you should be recommending other fellow artists to come to the Middle East, obviously because it's a war zone, as most of people say. Your own words could make a lot of change to other people coming and performing in Lebanon as itself, as it was #1 ranked by CNN for parties in the Middle East. So what
I would definitely agree with you. Beirut is an amazing city. It's always, back in the day, was always dubbed as the Paris of the Middle East, and it still has that sort of kind of charm to it. If you look at the country as geographically, it's like, and people-wise, it's like half Muslim, half Christian. So there's not that strict. It's not strict at all. It's a full-on party country. If you talk about the Middle East, of course, there's different sides to it. There's Lebanon and with
Dubai.
But there's Dubai as well, which is the next place I'm actually going to. I'm going to be part of the opening of a new club in October. So I don't know when I'm going to be back in
October.
Yeah, but I'm not sure when I'm back in Beirut, because I usually do it once a year. But yeah.
So you obviously give a word to your fellow artists to go and.
Really, the news is just the news, and if something here in the States happens in San Francisco, doesn't mean that Chicago is dangerous. And that's the way I look at it. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
Do you think you have the best hair in trance? Serious question.
It's very serious, Terry.
I don't know. I might have a different look of hair in trance, but I don't know.
Who do you think has the best hair in trance?
Ferry Corsten.
I mean, you and Armin, they're like neck and neck right now.
I think you do. I think you can say yes.
I'll leave it up to you, alright?
Yeah, I think you top it off. You top it off with the hair.
Alright,
Say
cool.
yes.
Alright. Thank you. Alright. Very good.
All right, now we settled that. Thanks.
Nice one.
So what's next for New World Punks? I know Marcus is here on Sunday, but I don't know if you'll run into him. But
I won't, because I'm going to be in San Diego and LA on Sunday. But next for New World Punks is Romania next week. It's a big outdoor stadium, like an arena, where we're going to be playing, which I'm really looking forward to. And then we are actually finalizing a tour for November here in the States. So, more news soon, because I don't know the exact date.
will we see a full-length album ever?
I don't know. First of all, we had Romper as like a first experiment. Put it out on as a free download, as the first single. We are actually working on a couple of ideas right now, and it usually goes through Dropbox and Google Drive, back and forth, wherever Marcus is in the world, and so it's not always together. So we're working on stuff, but the album will probably be in a long while from now.
I was going to say, how do you normally find time to collab? Is it normally virtually, or do you find time to meet together in the studio, or what's the process of that?
Sometimes we make time out. We make time to do that. For example, EZOO Vegas. We both stayed a few days, and we rented out a studio there and just worked from there. But very often it's just we have this it's on Google Drive. We have this folder together where we just we just dump stuff in, and then get a text message from Mark. It's like, hey, I have some new idea, and I'll look in the Dropbox folder or the Google Drive folder, and here, and then I continue working with it. So it just goes back and forth really, and yeah, that's how it goes most of the time.
Great.
Yeah.
You have avid fans and listeners all over the world because you make music that literally moves us. So how do you think that you've given back to the community and made a difference in the world, or how do you plan to do that in the future?
You know what? In the end, it's just I never really think about how I can just give something back to the world. It's like, you know, it's something that, this whole music thing for me, it started as a hobby, out of pure passion, and I hope that that passion is still, you know, audible in my music, and if that's the case, then, you know, the smile that I have in the studio by making it together, putting it together, you know, for me it's like the whole point to bring that out on the dance floor, really. And it's not really, it's not like a, how to say that, a predetermined sort of move, like, oh, I make this track, so you're happy. It's just, in the end, it's just I love what I do, and I hope that that comes out when you listen to the music. Yeah. So.
Armin had his EZOO 600 tour that went all around. Are you planning on anything of the same sort for full on? I mean, you're approaching 350 kind of, and you'll be at 400.
Yeah, yeah, that's Corsten's countdown. Is, you know, we are coming up to 350. You know, full on is sort of like an event we can link with that, but it's not. I don't want to be the other radio show that has an event linked to the so many episode. You know, it's done already, like by quite a few radio shows that do the same thing. I don't want to be the number X that does the same thing. So I don't think so. Yeah. All right. Anybody?
Yes.
Your recent track, Coulda, Woulda, Shoulda, is currently a fan favorite. So can you tell us the story behind the name of the title and how you came up with that?
Funny, you know, sometimes you just make a track and you are just for weeks you're looking for a title that makes sense, or makes no sense. And I was actually talking to my agent here in New York about a couple of shows, and for some reason he just said to me, oh, yeah, Coulda, Woulda, Shoulda. Oh wow, that's actually really cool. So I just used that. There's no rocket science behind it. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And you managed to maintain your position as a key artist who didn't slow down for the newer listeners who kind of heard the bass drop. So I believe it's because of your unique blend of hard electro with melodious trance. Would this be the accurate description of your loud electronic ferocious combo?
So what about it?
Like
Pretty much what she's saying is like, your sound.
Yeah.
I know you came out with the whole loud electronic ferocious concept. You came out with an album with that, and like you were kind of pushing that concept. Like, would this pretty much be the accurate description of
my music
what
today?
you do? Right?
Yeah. I think LEF is just a sort of that brings everything together. You know, because. You know, I had my breakthrough with trance, so that's why everybody sees me as a trance DJ. But before that, you know, I made Gabba, I made drum and bass, I made house, techno, ambient. You know, I did everything before that already. And then, you know, with the breakthrough with Out of the Blue and trance, that whole trance sound, people just thought automatically like, okay, that's all he does. But I can only do something, you know, the same for so long. Then I just need to move on. I need to trigger myself. I need to inspire myself again. And that's where basically LAF is sort of like where everything comes together. You know, before electro became electro house, that was in the 80s. There was electro. That is what inspired me, and that is what LAF brings into the, you know, into the blended trance. The whole thing about blending genres is to look for extremes. I think if you have something like a melody so pretty and beautiful, but on the other hand, the sound that it's played with, or the bass line underneath is really rowdy and distorted and rough, is that extreme that, you know, that creates a certain extra emotion, and that's what I've been looking for. And sometimes I try to do that still. Yeah.
You're talking about songs that create emotion. What's your favorite song to play live to sort of, if you want the crowd to have high energy, sort of relax a little bit, what do you like to play?
I like to play it because I love the song itself, but also the crowd is just a full-on crowd favorite. It's beautiful. My track Beautiful, because you know, it's all about the music. The lyrics is all about the music. I just love the lyrics. So, and it has that, what I just said, it has the beautiful melody with the distorted sounds. It basically is all what she just asked about, you know, the LEF sound.
Of course.
Yeah.
I had a question. So at EDC Chicago, you wore like the banginest blue leather jacket. Where'd you get that from? Because I really want it. No, I'm like dead serious though.
It's a Dutch brand. It's called EZOO.
Can I just have yours?
Yeah, next time I'll bring
Serious deal? All right.
No. Because I love it too much. It's a brand called EZOO, and they have some really cool stuff. And I once had a photo shoot, and the guy who just came up with all the clothes, he's like, look at this. I was like, that's very blue. Try it on. It's still very blue. And then all the girls were like, oh, I love your jacket.
No, I literally did though. Like I took 80 photos of you, and then when you took your shirt off, I was like, no, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah, right.
This is a very serious question for most of the girls in the room. Are you married?
No, I'm not.
Yes. Okay, great. Because then that would crush my little.
I'm crushed.
Very.
I'm crushed.
You know, very crushed. You know. Unfortunate. So okay, I think that's it, girls. Let's go.
Your daughter.
Guys, sorry. Alright, thank you.
You have your daughter,
Yeah.
and you have a family, and you have a rigorous schedule, and I feel like just personally watching you, it's constant. You're always everywhere.
Yeah.
How does it? Do you see yourself being able to continue juggling that, or
For the next while, yeah. You know, it's having a little one doesn't make it easier, no, because it's it was already a lot of flying before, and then when she came around, it was flying even more, because where I would normally do 3 weeks in the States or in South America or something, you know, right now I just do the same thing, but in between I will fly back and back again, you know. So it's definitely tough, but I make it a real effort to make Papa Day, as we call it, you know. It's normally when I'm back here home in the studio, but on a Wednesday afternoon it's her day. It's like she's from school, so I'll take her out and we do nice things.
do you see yourself being able to bring her along when she gets older? Or is it
Yeah,
something you can turn into
we
a
actually
trip,
had this Ibiza season with the full-on nights. As a pre-party, I'm playing at Café Del Mar, which you know, where I play during the sunset. So I play real mellow, chill out stuff, and you know, the girls were with me this year, and it's really cute. I actually, for the first time, I brought her out to Café Del Mar, and she could actually see Papa doing, you know. She knows Papa makes music. That's what she knows, right? So this time she could see it, and we had these little protective earphones for her, so pink, of course. So yeah, it was great. And
So she's a future critique.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I wanted to go back to your sound. You talked about gabber. Could you explain what that is exactly?
Gabber, it's, you know, right now it's more known as hardstyle. Yeah, but back in the day it was like 180 BPM. Real hard, real fast. Everything distorted. So just